Horror comes in so many different ways. It is such a broad genre. Gore is a massive part of the horror genre, but it doesn't make a horror film. There are still so many good horror films that don't have any gore at all, or maybe just have a little bit. I thought, seeing as I did a list of gory horror films, today I would do the opposite and talk about some horror films that have little or no gore. So maybe you're someone who isn't a massive fan of gore, you may be just getting into horror, or maybe you just want a break from gory horror films. Hopefully I can help you out today. A great category if you're looking for scares without any gore is the paranormal subgenre. Franchises like Insidious and The Conjuring are great. The Insidious films focus heavily on the spiritual world, the paranormal and demons. Definitely not shy on jump scares. They are scary films but with minimal gore. They are super creepy and really get under your skin with a feeling of dread. The creativity within the franchise is really what sticks out to me, as there is a whole other world plane called the Further, which is basically a dark spiritual realm that can also be accessed by people who can astro project. This means that they can go there in their sleep, as they can control their dreams. They explain it a lot better in the films than what I can explain it, but it is an absolutely great franchise. The Conjuring is very similar in with it being a paranormal haunting film, and the horror lies within creepiness and jump scares. It's a haunting story where we follow a family as well as two paranormal investigators who are helping the family out with their paranormal disturbances. There are so many films in this franchise, so I'm not sure about all of them being gore-free, but the first film is low on the gore. We also have films like The Woman in Black, which has minimal gore. It's more implied gore and violence. It's a gothic, atmospheric film where we follow a man who has been sent to examine a house where a lady has recently died. It's full of jump scares, and it's also a great horror film for beginners. The last paranormal film I'm going to talk about is Host, which is actually set over Zoom. It's a short film being only an hour long, and the actors actually did all of their own effects at home because this was shot during the pandemic. A group of friends are on Zoom during lockdown, and they hire a medium to join their call and to host an online seance. This is a decision that they soon regret when supernatural occurrences begin. This is a found footage film, which is also the next category. Found footage is also another really good subgenre, as it can be heavily focused on atmosphere. Of course, we have The Blair Witch Project, where we follow a small group of friends who go out investigating the legend that is the Blair Witch, asking around the town for stories and then going out into the woods themselves. Anything set in the woods at night is absolutely terrifying. The Paranormal Activity franchise is also another great set of films. I know that these can be a little bit hit or miss. Some people argue that not much happens and they just don't really enjoy them, but I personally think they're really good and really terrifying. I think if you have a good imagination, then you don't have to see everything in horror, as some things are really best left up to the imagination, and honestly can be more scary left up to the imagination. I mean, how many horror films have you seen where the whole film is super creepy, but then the end reveal kind of ruins that for you? Maybe they just show too much and it doesn't feel as scary anymore. I know I actually recently felt that with a film that came out this year, Weapons. I do love that film, but I was let down by the ending. More on found footage, Death of a Vlogger, that you can watch on Tubi, was actually a recent watch for me. This is about a vlogger who captures something paranormal on camera. An online paranormal investigator also gets involved and things just escalate from there. There are also some comical moments, especially with the online paranormal investigator. Hashtag Missing Couple is another film that I found on Tubi. This is also about vlogging. This follows a vlogging couple who have ditched their on-the-go van life for a fresh start in a new home. This took a really unexpected turn and surprised me with how much I enjoyed it. I expected it to be a lot cheesier. I think that is the title that kind of put me off a little bit, but it does show that you shouldn't always judge a film by its title. Butterfly Kisses can be watched for free on YouTube, and it follows a filmmaker who finds a bunch of old tapes. On these tapes are a student project investigating creating the urban legend of Peeping Tom. The filmmaker decides to continue the student's work to uncover this paranormal investigation. This film does really freak me out, especially the ending. Another great category within horror is wacky 80s films, like for example Gremlins. Billy's dad gets him an exotic new pet for Christmas from a mysterious shop downtown. The pet is a mogwai that he names Gizmo, but this cute pet comes with a set of rules. You can't let it near bright lights, especially sunlight, you can never get it wet, and you must never ever let it eat past midnight. There really isn't much gore in this film. There is, if we're talking about gore towards Gremlins. We see a lot of gore with these mischievous creatures, like them melting, one gets blended, you get the idea, but it's not like red blood gore, it's like melty, slime looking, very unrealistic in regards to human gore. It's a film that is probably fine for older kids, it's really nothing crazy. The second film, Gremlins 2, The New Batch, is another really good one. It is basically a continuation of the story, but we get to see loads of new kinds of gremlins. We get to see the Bat Gremlin, Spider Gremlin, Electric Gremlin. There are endless gremlins. Another great wacky 80s one would be Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Aliens plant their spaceship in a small town. Their spaceship looks like a big tent and these aliens look like clowns. They roam the streets causing mayhem and terror to the community. The aliens do kill people, but there's never a load of gore. It's more over the top, very unrealistic. For example, small spoiler warning for the film, but in one of the scenes, one of the clowns punches someone in the head and it just kind of knocks their head off. Their head goes flying, but it's not done in like a gory way. It's more done in like a comical way. It's very silly and unscary. I always put this film on as a comfort watch, especially if I'm having a bad day or not feeling too well. Some sci-fi horror films have little gore, like the film Signs. A family that lives on a farm one day wake up to crop circles in their fields. They are extremely confused by this, but things start to make sense when sights of aliens are rumoured in the community. Signs is such a great story. It's one of the first horror films I watched all the way through and it absolutely terrified me. The effects definitely make it a little bit less scary to watch nowadays, but the story has still really held up. Now some psychological horror films. Firstly, the film Get Out. Chris is going to meet and stay with his girlfriend's family for the first time out of town. From when they arrive, things seem off. The family are acting strange, but their housekeeper and groundsman are acting even weirder. As time goes on, Chris uncovers some horrifying family secrets that make him want to get the hell out of there. Another great choice is I Saw the TV Glow. It's low gore, very much dreamy weirdness. There is a lot of random things happening in this film. There is kind of body horror, but it's done in a fantasy way. It's not really like bloody horror. In I Saw the TV Glow, we follow a child, Owen, who is introduced to a new TV show that plays at night, and it's a very strange show. This is kind of horror adjacent. It's very genre bending, a very weird but beautiful film. And my last recommendation falls under the category of light-hearted, a little bit comical, but spooky, great to watch this time of the year, and that's the film Your Monster. There is a little bit of gore, but it is just kind of light gore and it's not a massive part of the storyline. When there is violence, it usually pans away. Life isn't going too well for Laura, with the breakdown of her long-term relationship and her health rapidly declining. She is often having emotional breakdowns alone at home, but she ends up actually not being alone, which she finds out one day when she sees a monster in her apartment, and it turns out he's been staying there alongside her all this time. They have to decide whether they can learn to get on and live together or go their separate ways. This is a very heartfelt and wholesome story. That's the end of my list today. There are so many amazing horror films with little or no gore. These are just a few suggestions. Definitely leave your favourites in the comments. I personally love all kinds of horror films. I do really love gore, but I don't think it's necessary to make a good horror film. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in another one soon.